Hello and welcome to Network. My name is Phumelele Zondi with your technology and social media news. Remember that you can be a part of our tech conversation. It's SABC Network on Facebook, Twitter and Instagram, News Network at sabc.co.za on email. This week, our Twitter poll is asking you if you do more online shopping. This as we've been told to stay at home more and away from shopping centers as we are dealing with COVID-19. In America, online shopping has increased as a result of this. Results of that are coming up later in the program. But first, here's what's coming up tonight. We look at how the tech sector has been doing because of COVID-19. We find out about some local innovations that are helping fight the spread of the coronavirus. And our discussion takes us to Zimbabwe, a country that has a shortage of SIM cards. Now, some of the countries that are most affected by the spread of COVID-19 are tech-producing countries. They include China, South Korea, Japan, and the United States of America. So it would affect the tech sector in a big way. But as people have also been told to stay at home more, we are looking at whether there are solutions in the technology sector that can help them do their work at home. Here's producer Sandile Hlangani.
The coronavirus is having a negative impact on many industries. Companies are telling investors that sales are falling because of the outbreak, product launches and conferences are being cancelled, and workers are being instructed not to travel.
It has really affected a lot of business because a lot of things have been cancelled, and also remember a lot of devices, a lot of things that we deal with technologically are from China, so they had to be cancelled, and phone launches are cancelled, car launches are cancelled, and you can't even get a guest on radio now because of this coronavirus. So now it's a bit of a difficult time, but hopefully we'll come out of it and things will go back to normal.
In the tech industry, companies with direct exposure to China were the earliest to feel the effects.
Apple, like any other company that manufactures in China, is going to have challenges. One of the things that they're doing is, Apple has two challenges. One, there's a supply chain challenge, which is getting the products into store. And two, the challenge of knowing that they have a wide base of stores that operate in areas where coronavirus is prevalent. So one of the things that they're doing is closing down their stores. So I think closing down their stores serves two great purposes for them. One, it ensures that it reduces the spread of coronavirus within their network and anyone who goes into the store, but also it will help them alleviate some of the challenges that they have in terms of their supply chain.
While hardware companies seem to be the most obvious candidate to face trouble, Netflix saw a drastic increase in hours of streaming.
If you have a look at Netflix stock prices, it has seen an increase. So all of the tech that involves staying at home or staying away from public has seen an increase, and all of the tech products that allow you to integrate better in society and meet people are the ones that are actually going down.
Household consumers in and around the world are turning to online groceries for their daily food supply.
I run an online grocery store. Funny enough, my sales have gone up because now people are ordering online and we are doing other deliveries. But I think some spaces are affected. It depends what you do. But for me, looking at this whole coronavirus thing, I think it's a steer to us to really introduce people to the fourth industrial revolution and say that, hey, you can work from home, you can order things from online and things can get delivered to you. So I think it also creates an appetite for people to get their businesses online so that people can have access to them.
The epidemic sweeping the globe has also affected millions of students.
Well, they're feeling the impact because they're all shut. So I think that the thing about the virus is it's not going to discriminate of a school who may or may not have had technology. The one advantage that those tech-enabled schools have is that they know how to run some form of digital learning system. So I think that that's really an advantage in itself.
Analysts say COVID-19 epidemic is surely not the last epidemic that will threaten school continuity. Schools must immediately update their emergency preparedness plans.
I think that if this ever comes up again, as a human crisis or a health crisis, we should be more prepared, which means that our schools should have had a contingency plan, a continuity of learning action plan, which is what we're doing at IDEA, is making sure the government understands what that looks like. But we need to have made sure that that was happening before we hit this crisis. We shouldn't be now trying to react to it. But the reality is, even if there are devices in the schools, are they accessible to the students while they're at home?
Those in tech estimated that once the outbreak is under control, it will take up to 12 months for tech sector to return to its normal levels.
As we continue to check how the coronavirus is affecting the world, here's producer Lebo Mokomela with details on some of the technologies that are used to check and monitor the virus.
The COVID-19 pandemic has seen global citizens and governments alike adopting various ways to avoid transmission. Countries such as Israel have started implementing high technological measures in attempts to curb the rapidly spreading virus. Cyber monitoring is one such solution, even though it might pose concerns of privacy.
The Shin Bet as a secret service is subjected directly to the Prime Minister. It is not a transparent body. It is not subjected to the Freedom of Information law, and therefore it might create a real problem after that with the supervision of its actions. We cannot be sure that the data is going to be deleted. We cannot sure that the data is not going to be crossed with other data sets that the Shin Bet is holding. That's why I think that we should have used other good measures.
Some Israeli residents feel that the government is allowed to have civilians under surveillance, as this is a necessary measure in halting the virus from spreading, thus saving lives.
I have no problem with the government using surveillance equipment to help fight this virus. I'm actually okay with it. If it's going to help the government do its job in stopping this virus, then it's good for me.
They have to do anything they can to solve this situation, to control it, even if it's sometimes not so comfortable for us.
Other technology solutions meant to curb the pandemic are being pitched virtually through an online hackathon organized by Estonian IT experts.
Hospitals are not short of oxygen and pressurized air, but they are short of devices that allow continuous ventilation for 2 weeks. We have created a solution where an ordinary ambu bag is converted to a breathing apparatus, which allows us to temporarily replace the breathing machine. By adding a pressure sensor between the breathing mask and the ambu bag, we are able to monitor the airflow and guarantee the optimal breathing parameters. We have also built a mechanical actuator which will replace humans.
The president of Estonia, Kersti Kaljulaid, has weighed in on this matter by saying that the government cannot be the only one which is working towards solving this problem, but help from other stakeholders, including the digital community, would make a great deal of a difference.
For 20 years we have been digitally transforming, and now we are a digitally transformed nation. We have to help each other in this crisis. It cannot be only the government or the crisis committee which is working to resolve our problems. It absolutely needs to be also ourselves and our digital community, of whom I am a great fan, has gathered forces, has thought of the ideas, and I'm quite sure that some of these ideas will be workable and some of these ideas will save lives.
We've been repeatedly told that one of the ways we can help fight the spread of the coronavirus is to wash our hands. But the problem is, if you have to turn the tap on, you have to touch it. You then wash your hands and you touch it again to turn it off. Now, you don't know who touched it before you. There are taps with sensors, but they often need electricity to work. Now, at the recent Innovation Festival Durban, I met up with someone who says he has a solution that does not need you to touch the tap. At Innovation Festival as well, I met a group of guys who have come up with a solution that allows you to order any service you want to sort out your house. With COVID-19 or coronavirus gripping the world, we've been told to constantly wash our hands and be wary of touching surfaces. But if you use an ordinary tap, you can't not touch it. Taps with sensors often work with electricity, and of late, South Africa has irregular power cuts. A startup from Durban feels it has a solution for this.
And secondly, sensors they are timed, so after you've removed your hands, they still dispense water for a couple of seconds, whereas our system, as soon as the foot force is off, it shuts closed totally. And we've created that value of saving water.
They showcased their simple and yet useful innovation at Innovation Festival Durban. They already have some orders from housing units developers. Also showcasing at Innovation Festival is Elo app. They are a one-stop shop for many services on a mobile device.
We do verification to check criminal records and all of those things. So when it comes to pricing, it is a service provider that does provide those things. We're just the man in the middle that's connecting you to a customer in need for your service and connecting you to the nearest customers who wants your service. We have almost about 20 services that we do have. We have a cleaning services as well. We have beauties and spas and makeup. We have electricians, plumbings.
The fourth industrial revolution is here and we should not waste time.
Innovation Festival looked at the future of African innovation. There was even a discussion on smart cities and transportation in those cities of the future.
Bring the electric minibus taxi industry into electric mobility, to electrify minibus taxis, because an electric minibus taxi will run at an operational cost of about 10% of that of a conventional vehicle, and those savings can be given through to our commuters. So I fully agree, our public transport system needs to be more integrated and more cost efficient for our commuters especially.
This event took place in the township of Umkumbane, otherwise known as Cato Manor. It is SABC Network on Facebook, Twitter and Instagram. News Network at sabc.co.za. On email. After the break, we chat about Zimbabwe, a country that's reported to have run out of SIM cards. It's apparently not the first time this is happening. Now imagine your life without your mobile phone or the SIM card that goes without it. It's properly altered, isn't it? Now, reports we're getting are saying that Zimbabwe has run out of SIM cards. It's apparently not the first time this is happening. Let's meet up with Tony Manyagadze, who deals with Zimbabwean issues, who's going to tell us what's going on in Zimbabwe and how people's lives are being altered by the lack of SIM cards in the Southern African country. Tony, thank you very much for being a part of our network. Maybe if you can explain what the problem is with SIM cards in Zimbabwe.
What happens in Zim, there are about 4 major internet service providers, which is Econet, Telkom, Tel1 and Telesol. So what happens with these is 3 of them specialize in cell phone networks, and then one used to specialize only in landlines and ADSL. But now what they're trying to do is they're trying to move away from that and to provide wireless internet. So what then happened with that company, they had like a pilot project where they came up with like a few thousand lines and then they sold them. But then now the demand is high because they're relatively cheaper than the other 3 when it comes to internet. So that is why there is a shortage of SIM card for that particular network.
When you say this one particular provider is cheap, how cheap is cheap, and how expensive will they be on other networks?
This is not a private company, it's actually a government-owned company. So they are heavily subsidized, and they are doing it for the people, basically. So that is why they are relatively cheap. And if you look at the other three network service providers, some of them are partly owned by government, but majority of them are privately owned. So they are highly commercialized, and even their services are almost nationwide. So that is why they are relatively cheaper than as compared to the other three. And also in Zim, you have to also understand that the economic situation is not very good, especially for businesses. You get the 12, 13-hour load shedding, and that is unbearable, especially if you own a service provider in terms of internet and network. So they use generators most of the time, and it's not sustainable because even diesel is not available. So it is bound to have, like, we are bound to have higher prices when it comes to internet. And
how affordable is internet access in Zimbabwe?
It's very, very expensive. I was in Zim a few months ago. I was barely on WhatsApp because even WhatsApp is very, very expensive. Compared to most African countries, I think Zim is actually the highest prices in terms of internet and network because of the dire economic situation that is in Zim. Like I was saying before, you get service providers heavily relying on generators and diesel for most part of the days because there is no electricity. So that is bound to then desolate, or it goes back to the consumer, so to speak. Because at the end of the day, those costs are supposed to be met, and who is going to meet them? Obviously, it's not the service providers, but the people who are using the services.
How important are these SIM cards that you speak of, and what would Zimbabweans use them for?
With the issue of electricity, I think now businesses are preferring to have wireless internet, so they can have their own Wi-Fi routers, and then they can actually, when there is no electricity, they can use their laptops, they can power their laptops to actually be on the internet and to save and to continue with the business of the day. But now, if there are no lines for that particular network, which is actually cheap, businesses are now forced to even try and consider going to the other expensive network, which is not sustainable. So that is why there is actually a very high demand of these SIM cards. And it was a pilot project, I understand, so they only made a few. But now they didn't anticipate that a lot of people were going to be wanting to buy them to be part of the network. So they are only saying they don't know when they're going to have their next consignment yet, and they don't know if when they actually finally have the next consignment, how much the lines will be. But when they had them, they were actually cheap. So what then happened was a few people managed to then buy a few for themselves, and now they're then selling them at exorbitant prices because of the high demand. Obviously, when the supply is low, then the price is bound to go up. That is what is actually happening. The ones that manage to hoard are now selling the SIM card at a very high price.
Does Zimbabwe not have a registration process of SIM cards?
For the other three networks, yeah, they do. They actually do. But for this one, like I said, it was particularly a new pilot project that they were actually starting out. So a few people, some private citizens, some you never know, they might actually be working for that company, and they had access to buying SIM cards, like when they were still cheap and in large quantities. So they are now taking advantage of the situation, of the scarcity of the SIM cards, and now they are actually selling them at very high prices.
Tony Manyakadze, thank you very much for being a part of our network tonight.
A school with a great academic record, a beacon of hope for parents and learners. Now the principal faces charges of sexual grooming and manipulation.
The suspect was arrested by the FCS unit.
We have a reason to believe that the allegations have merit. Our labor section has immediately drafted a letter of suspension.
ANC and EFF are staging a walkout because they don't want this DA Speaker, Katlego Matebe, to continue.
We can't have a person now that is being investigated and so on. She must step aside and allow the process to conclude.
The real reason why the ANC and EFF collapsed the meeting, the two parties have been negotiating to take over the city.
Our immediate task, which we want to do now, is to get rid of the DA executive in the city.
We took a decision out of that meeting to place the Tshwane Municipal Council, to dissolve the municipality and appoint an administrator.
As firms all over the world push to find new ways to compete in 2020, innovation in construction technology is proving to be one of the most important ways to do it.
I think the engineering and construction industry over the years has been a little bit reticent in moving with the times. So I think there's definitely a call for modernizing the industry. There's been this a significant move to technological advancements. And I think it's time for the industry really to embrace these as elements which would provide benefits to how the industry operates going forward. Some significant advancements have been made there. Drone technologies, as an example, have really transformed the man-machine interfaces and sort of taken personal element out of that. Allowing machinery to go into these dangerous areas or to do inspections on various elements of plant and that. So, some significant advancements there. I think the oil and gas industry is a prime example of an industry that has really transformed its business model in recent times, where safety has been a key issue.
It's not uncommon for people to think they may be replaced by a robot in the workplace. But those in the industry say people should not worry.
The jobs of the future are just a little different to what they are today. And I think any individual out there who's prepared to develop their skills in terms of embracing technologies, applying these technologies, is really setting themselves a sound platform to operate in the future market. So they're not jobs that are going to be lost. Yes, in certain elements of business, those jobs are diminishing. But with that, there's a new form of market that is created, and a new form of job market that is created. The sooner we realize that and we transition into those spaces, the better it will be for all of us.
While VR is enhancing the productivity of humans, automation and robotics is proving a path to a greater safety and efficiency, including the use of drones in construction. Stay in, stay safe, and we will get what you need. Delivery App Tota's message is among marketing campaigns flooding social media in the Gulf Arab region as government restrict movement and urge social distancing over coronavirus fears. Many online retailers and delivery apps are stressing their commitment to hygiene, including checking drivers' temperatures and supplying them with gloves and hand sanitizer to reassure clients concerned about the spread of the virus. Competitor Hunger Station has offered delivery discounts and asked customers to pay online.
والله احنا اليوم التزمنا بالقرار طبعا، والمبيعات انخفضت 60%، اكثر من 60% شوي، بس الطلب على الديفري تحسن شوي، وان شاء الله بعد يومين 3 ايام بيتحسن اكثر عبال ما تخلص المدة تبع الحظر.
In regional tourism and business hub, the United Arab Emirates, restaurants remain open, but there has been a rush on supermarkets. Bars and lounges were ordered to shut. Order sizes have increased, particularly for cleaning products. healthy food and electronics, and 6 new fulfillment centers had opened across the Middle East in March to meet the growing demand. Retail, one of the US major industries, has been hit hard due to a sharp drop in consumer activity amid the ongoing COVID-19 pandemic. Macy's, a well-known American department store chain, announced that it would close all its stores nationwide because of the epidemic. Walmart, US's biggest retailer, said that it would cut its opening hours from 24 hours a day in response to the outbreak. A large shopping mall in Virginia has also been unusually quiet these days due to the pandemic.
Well, not too great, just going down, like. So since then, the business going down, going bad, so like we're not getting any customers.
Large brands can choose to close their stores and sell products online, but small business owners are experiencing difficulties since they have fewer options. Ekins, who runs a small boutique in the shopping mall, said he was considering to close his store.
We're thinking about it around. It all going to depend on traffic. It's going to depend on how many stores close around us, and then decide if we're going to close or not.
Retail in the US has started showing signs of depression since last year, with more than 9,300 retail stores closing as of mid-December.
Now, the guys that ride these make deliveries of food that's been ordered online. Reports we're getting out of the United States of America is that online orders have increased because people are staying at home because of the spread of the coronavirus. Here in South Africa, we've also been told to try to stay away from shopping centers and stay at home more. So we are asking you on our Twitter poll this week if you've been making more orders of all sorts of things online. That's it. That's all we have for you. You can find us on SABC Network on Facebook, Twitter and Instagram. It's newsnetwork@sabc.co.za on email. From me, it's Phumelele Zondi and the rest of the network team. Thank you very much for being a part of our network. Have a good one. Bye-bye.